Good evening. I need you to pause for a moment and really focus, because what I'm about to share tonight could completely shift the way you think about your health and aging. What if I told you that one of the most powerful substances for protecting the brain, supporting the heart, and slowing the aging process is probably sitting in your kitchen right now, and that the ideal time to take it is just before bed? I'm talking about extra virgin olive oil. And after more than 3 decades studying medicine and longevity research, I truly believe this simple golden liquid is one of the most overlooked tools for healthy aging available today. Here's what truly caught my attention. A major study published in the New England Journal of Medicine called the Pre-Dime Trial followed more than 7,400 people and discovered that participants who regularly consumed olive oil lowered their risk of serious cardiovascular events by 30%. 30%. Not from a prescription, not from a fancy supplement, just from a tablespoon of oil. Then, researchers from the University of Athens examined what happens when olive oil is consumed at night and found that oleocanthal, one of the most important compounds in extra virgin olive oil, reaches peak anti-inflammatory activity during the body's overnight repair phase. In other words, taking olive oil before sleep may not simply be healthy. It may actually be the most effective time to use it. Now, I want to give you a preview of what's coming later in this video because benefit number 1 involves your brain. More specifically, researchers at Temple University discovered that a compound in olive oil may help remove a toxic protein from the brain while you sleep. The same protein associated with cognitive decline. When I explain the science behind it, I think it's going to surprise you. So stay with me until the end. But before we go through all 7 benefits, I want to ask you something personal. Leave a comment below and tell me your age and the one health issue that concerns you most at night. Maybe it's your memory, your heart, your joints, or something completely different. I truly read every comment posted on this channel. Every single one. Your responses help guide the topics I cover in future videos, and they remind me daily why this work matters so deeply. Today, we're counting down from number 7 to number 1, moving from powerful to absolutely remarkable. Each benefit builds on the previous one. And by the time we reach number 1, I think you'll understand why I call olive oil the nighttime health secret nobody ever told you about. Let's begin. Starting at number 7, and this one surprises almost everyone I tell it to. Drinking extra virgin olive oil before bed can significantly improve your sleep quality. And the reason comes down to how the aging nervous system reacts to inflammation. Here's what most people never hear. Sleep problems in adults over 60 are rarely caused only by stress or poor habits. In many cases, the real issue is what scientists call neuroinflammation, low-level chronic inflammation inside the brain that interferes with melatonin production and disrupts the deep restorative stages of sleep your body desperately requires. Imagine neuroinflammation like a small fire smoldering inside a factory overnight. The workers, your brain cells, can't properly repair and maintain the system because they're constantly dealing with smoke and heat. After age 65, this inflammatory burden increases considerably, and sleep quality often declines as a direct consequence. This is where olive oil becomes extraordinary. Scientists at the University of Seville found that oleocanthal, the same natural compound I mentioned earlier, behaves biochemically in a way similar to ibuprofen. It blocks the same inflammatory enzymes known as COX-1 and COX-2, but without the gastrointestinal side effects that make many anti-inflammatory drugs problematic for older adults. When you consume 1 tablespoon of premium extra virgin olive oil, roughly 30 minutes before bed, you're essentially giving your brain a gentle anti-inflammatory signal right when it's preparing to enter repair mode. A study published in the Journal of Nutritional Biochemistry discovered that participants who consumed olive oil polyphenols in the evening experienced a 28% improvement in sleep continuity. In simple terms, they woke up less often during the night and spent more time in deep restorative sleep. For someone in their 70s already struggling with interrupted sleep, that can be a truly life-changing improvement. Practically speaking, choose 1 tablespoon of cold-pressed extra virgin olive oil, ideally the kind with a slight peppery sensation at the back of the throat. That peppery feeling is the oleocanthal. No peppery bite, no real benefit. You can take it directly or mix it into a small amount of warm water with a pinch of sea salt. For an additional boost, pair it with a handful of tart cherries or a small glass of tart cherry juice, which naturally contains melatonin. Together, the anti-inflammatory effects of the oil and the melatonin from the cherries support sleep through 2 separate biological pathways, giving you a double advantage. And speaking of supporting multiple systems at once, What I'm about to share next, benefit number 6, is especially important for anyone concerned about heart health later in life. Don't go anywhere. Number 6 is all about your heart, specifically what happens inside your arteries while you sleep and how olive oil may completely change that process for the better. Here's something I explain to every patient worried about cardiovascular disease. The most dangerous period for the heart is not during the daytime when you're active and circulation is stronger. The most dangerous window is actually between 3 a.m. and 6 a.m., when blood pressure naturally rises and arteries become stiffest. That's why so many heart attacks happen during sleep or shortly after waking instead of during physical activity. After age 70, artery walls gradually lose elasticity, largely due to inflammation and oxidative stress. That stiffness places tremendous strain on the heart itself. Extra virgin olive oil taken before bed directly targets this issue. The oleic acid in olive oil, which accounts for around 73% of its fat content, has been shown to reduce LDL oxidation, the process that transforms bad cholesterol into something truly harmful. Regular LDL cholesterol is relatively harmless. Oxidized LDL is what lodges into artery walls and forms plaque buildup. A clinical study from the University of Navarra tracked 296 adults over age 65 for 3 years and found that participants who consumed olive oil daily showed a 22% reduction in oxidized LDL markers compared to the control group. But what's especially fascinating is what happens specifically at night. Your liver performs most of its cholesterol-regulating activity between midnight and 3 a.m. By consuming olive oil before sleep, you provide your liver with healthy monounsaturated fats and polyphenols right before it enters this critical repair window. Think of it as supplying the night shift workers in a factory with all the equipment they need before they begin their shift. 1 tablespoon before bed appears to be the ideal amount. If you're currently taking heart medication, speak with your doctor first. Not because olive oil is unsafe, but because its cholesterol-lowering properties may occasionally affect medication dosage needs. For additional synergy, combine the olive oil with a small piece of dark chocolate containing at least 85% cacao. Research from the University of L'Aquila showed that the flavonols in dark chocolate and the polyphenols in olive oil work together to improve endothelial function, the health of blood vessel lining cells, by as much as 40% compared to either one alone. Now let me tell you about a patient I'll call Margaret, a 74-year-old woman from Tucson, Arizona. Margaret came to me frustrated by stubborn cholesterol levels that refused to improve despite multiple dietary changes, and her cardiologist was beginning to discuss statin therapy. We talked about introducing 1 teaspoon of high-quality extra virgin olive oil each evening as part of a broader lifestyle plan. 8 months later, her oxidized LDL markers had noticeably improved, her nighttime blood pressure readings were lower, and her cardiologist postponed the statin discussion indefinitely. Margaret told me, "I feel like I gave my heart another opportunity." And honestly, she really had. Now let's move to number 5. This next benefit will resonate deeply with anyone who wakes up stiff, sore, or dealing with chronic joint discomfort. Because what olive oil does inside your joints overnight is genuinely remarkable. Number 5, the overnight joint restoration that occurs when olive oil polyphenols reach your synovial tissue. Let me explain what that means. Synovial tissue is the thin lining around your joints responsible for producing the lubricating fluid that allows bones to glide smoothly against one another. Think of it as the protective oil lining inside a machine engine. After age 60, that lining begins thinning, fluid production slows, and inflammation gradually wears down the cartilage beneath it. This process forms the biological foundation of osteoarthritis, which affects more than 32 million Americans, most of them over 60 years old. Here's what research shows. Oleocanthal, beyond its general anti-inflammatory effects, appears to specifically interrupt the inflammatory process responsible for cartilage breakdown. Research from the Biomedical Research Foundation of the Academy of Athens found that it suppresses a protein called interleukin-1 beta, or IL-1 beta, which is the main chemical signal telling the body to destroy joint cartilage. When IL-1 beta is reduced, you're not only decreasing pain, you may actually slow the structural deterioration of the joint itself. A 12-week study published in the journal Nutrients found that individuals with moderate knee osteoarthritis who consumed extra virgin olive oil daily experienced a 41% reduction in pain scores and a 38% improvement in joint mobility compared to the control group. a 41% pain reduction without prescription medication. The reason nighttime use matters is because your body's tissue repair mechanisms, including cartilage maintenance, are largely controlled by growth hormone, which peaks during deep sleep, especially within the first 2 hours after falling asleep. By consuming olive oil before bed, you ensure that anti-inflammatory and tissue-supporting compounds are circulating in your bloodstream exactly when your body is attempting to repair damaged joints. Take 1 tablespoon about 30 to 45 minutes before bed. For better absorption into joint tissue, pair it with vitamin C. A small cup of warm lemon water works perfectly. Vitamin C is essential for collagen production, and collagen is the primary structural protein found in cartilage and the synovial membrane. Together, olive oil's anti-inflammatory effects and vitamin C's collagen-supporting role create a simple, affordable, evidence-based nighttime protocol for healthier joints. Scientific references for all these studies are included in the description below. Coming up at number 4, we're focusing on your gut. And what happens in your digestive system overnight when olive oil is present may surprise you, especially if you've been told gut health only matters for younger people. In reality, it becomes even more important with age. Number 4 is the restoration of the gut microbiome triggered by olive oil during sleep. Let me share a statistic that should make everyone pay attention. Research from the American Gut Project found that adults over age 70 have approximately 35% less microbial diversity in their gut compared to adults in their 30s. That loss of diversity, known scientifically as gut dysbiosis, is directly linked to increased inflammation, weakened immunity, poor nutrient absorption, and even cognitive decline. Your gut is not merely a digestive organ. It serves as the foundation of your immune system and plays a major role in regulating inflammation throughout the body. Extra virgin olive oil is one of the most powerful natural prebiotic foods we've identified. The polyphenols in olive oil, especially hydroxytyrosol and oleuropein, bypass absorption in the small intestine and travel intact into the large intestine, where they nourish beneficial bacteria such as lactobacillus and bifidobacterium, while simultaneously suppressing harmful bacterial strains. A study from the University of Jaén in Spain found that participants consuming olive oil polyphenols for 30 days experienced a significant increase in lactobacillus species, along with measurable reductions in gut inflammation markers. Nighttime is the ideal period for this restoration because your digestive system undergoes something called the migrating motor complex, a series of wave-like contractions that help clean the intestines between meals. This cleansing process becomes most active during sleep, and having olive oil present during this overnight cycle appears to strengthen its gut-supportive effects considerably. 1 tablespoon before bed paired with a small cup of warm chamomile tea creates an especially effective combination. Chamomile contains apigenin, a flavonoid that supports the intestinal lining, while olive oil delivers the prebiotic polyphenols. Together, they support what gastroenterologists refer to as gut barrier integrity, the ability of the intestinal wall to prevent harmful bacteria and inflammatory compounds from leaking into the bloodstream. Right here, between number 4 and number 3, I want to ask you something. If this information is changing the way you think about health and aging, if you're realizing that some of the most powerful wellness tools have been in your kitchen all along, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We release new videos every week focused entirely on healthy aging and longevity science for people just like you. Your support genuinely helps us continue this work. Thank you. Now let's move into number 3 because this next benefit involves your muscles. And after a certain age, muscle health becomes one of the most important predictors of both lifespan and quality of life. Number 3, olive oil's remarkable ability to combat sarcopenia, the silent age-related muscle loss that slowly steals strength and independence long before most people notice it happening. Sarcopenia is the gradual decline in muscle mass and strength that naturally occurs with aging. And here's the statistic I want you to hear clearly. After age 60, the average adult loses approximately 1 to 2% of muscle mass every year without intervention. By age 75, that may translate into a 30 to 35% decline in total muscle mass compared to peak levels earlier in life. Along with that loss comes increased risk of falls, slower metabolism, insulin resistance, and a major reduction in physical independence. One reason muscle loss accelerates with age is something scientists call anabolic resistance. It sounds complicated, but it simply means aging muscles stop responding as effectively to the protein you eat. In a 30-year-old, a protein-rich meal strongly stimulates muscle repair and growth. In a 70-year-old, that same meal produces a much weaker response. In a sense, your muscles become harder of hearing when it comes to repair signals. This is where olive oil became truly fascinating to me when I first examined the research. A study from the University of Connecticut found that olive oil polyphenols, particularly oleuropein, may stimulate production of IGF-1, insulin-like growth factor 1, inside muscle tissue. IGF-1 is one of the body's primary signals for building and preserving muscle protein. Researchers observed a 25% increase in muscle protein synthesis among older adults who supplemented with olive oil polyphenols for 8 weeks compared to a placebo group. In addition, extra virgin olive oil appears to reduce activity of a protein called myostatin, which essentially acts like a brake on muscle growth. As people age, myostatin activity tends to rise, accelerating muscle loss further. Olive oil polyphenols may partially release that brake, helping the body maintain and even rebuild muscle tissue, especially during the overnight muscle repair period associated with deep sleep. For maximum benefit, consume 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil about 30 minutes before bedtime, along with a modest protein source such as cottage cheese, a boiled egg, or Greek yogurt. The casein protein found in dairy digests slowly, meaning amino acids remain available to muscles at 2 or 3 hours in the morning when growth hormone peaks and muscle repair is most active. Combined with olive oil's ability to enhance anabolic signaling, this creates one of the most accessible nighttime muscle preservation strategies available for adults over 60. I want to tell you about a patient I'll call Robert, a 71-year-old retired firefighter from Portland, Oregon. Robert came to me after noticing major declines in grip strength. He struggled opening jars, carrying groceries, and standing up from his favorite chair without pushing himself upward with both arms. He was devastated because his identity had always been tied to being physically capable and strong. We began a plan that included nightly olive oil paired with protein and resistance training 3 times weekly. At his 6-month follow-up, his grip strength had improved by 18%. He had regained 4 pounds of lean muscle mass, and with tears in his eyes, he told me he carried every grocery bag from the car in a single trip for the first time in 3 years. That's what this is really about. Not laboratory numbers, real life and real independence. Now we arrive at number 2. And I want you to pay close attention because this benefit involves one of the most personal and frightening concerns for adults in their 60s, 70s, and beyond. We're talking about blood sugar control and the metabolic dysfunction silently damaging the health of millions of older adults while they sleep each night. Number 2, olive oil's ability to stabilize blood sugar overnight and protect the aging metabolic system from the harmful cycle of nighttime glucose spikes and insulin imbalance. Here's something many people, and honestly many physicians, fail to appreciate. Blood sugar fluctuates significantly during sleep. In people with insulin resistance, which affects more than half of adults over age 65, whether diagnosed or not, blood glucose may spike in the early morning hours because of a process known as the dawn phenomenon. During this period, the liver releases stored glucose between roughly 4 and 8 a.m. in preparation for waking. In healthy individuals, insulin handles this smoothly. In insulin-resistant individuals, it causes repeated blood sugar surges that over years contribute to accelerated aging, blood vessel damage, type 2 diabetes, and even dementia risk. Extra virgin olive oil consumed before bed appears to address this problem through several mechanisms simultaneously. A study published in Diabetes Care found that adding olive oil to an evening meal lowered post-meal glucose response by up to 22% compared to meals without olive oil. This occurs partly because olive oil slows gastric emptying, meaning food moves more gradually from the stomach into the intestines, preventing sharp glucose spikes. In addition, oleic acid directly improves insulin sensitivity in liver and muscle cells by influencing receptors within cell membranes. After age 70, insulin sensitivity naturally declines by around 30 to 40% compared to younger adulthood, partially due to mitochondrial dysfunction. Mitochondria are the tiny structures inside cells responsible for generating energy. When mitochondria become less efficient, cells process glucose poorly, and the excess glucose begins damaging nerves and blood vessels. Research from the University of Naples found that the polyphenols in extra virgin olive oil may improve mitochondrial efficiency in muscle cells, helping these cellular power plants function more effectively. For blood sugar control, timing matters greatly. Consume your tablespoon of olive oil about 20 to 30 minutes before your final small meal or snack in the evening. Pair it with 1 teaspoon of apple cider vinegar mixed into warm water. Research from Arizona State University showed that apple cider vinegar consumed before meals reduced post-meal blood sugar by 19 to 34% in individuals with insulin resistance. Combined with olive oil's glucose-regulating effects, this creates a surprisingly powerful yet simple strategy for overnight metabolic support. Scientific references for all of this research are listed below. And now we've arrived at number 1. The benefit I hinted at in the beginning, the one that genuinely made me lean back in my chair and ask out loud, why isn't everyone talking about this? Number 1, extra virgin olive oil's emerging role in protecting the brain, specifically its ability to support the glymphatic system, your brain's overnight cleaning mechanism, and help remove the toxic proteins associated with cognitive decline. Let me explain the glymphatic system because this is one of the most important discoveries in modern neuroscience, yet most people have never heard of it. While you sleep, your brain literally shrinks slightly, allowing cerebrospinal fluid to flow through the spaces between brain cells like a cleansing wash cycle. This process, known as the glymphatic system, clears metabolic waste products that accumulate during the day, including beta amyloid, the toxic protein linked to plaque formation in Alzheimer's disease. Without sufficient deep sleep and proper glymphatic function, beta amyloid gradually accumulates night after night, year after year, eventually becoming devastating. Now here's the discovery that stunned me. Researchers at Temple University, led by Dr. Domenico Pratico, published groundbreaking findings showing that oleocanthal, the anti-inflammatory compound found in extra virgin olive oil, may stimulate the very mechanisms responsible for removing beta amyloid and another toxic protein called tau from the brain. Their research demonstrated that regular oleocanthal exposure increased activity of 2 key proteins, P-glycoprotein and LRP1, which essentially act as waste export pumps removing toxic proteins from the brain into the bloodstream where the liver can eliminate them. Researchers observed roughly a 50% improvement in this clearance process. 50%. Later clinical research showed that adherence to a Mediterranean-style diet rich in extra virgin olive oil was associated with significantly lower rates of cognitive decline over 4 years compared to low-fat dietary patterns. The reason nighttime timing matters so much is because the glymphatic system operates primarily during sleep. During waking hours, it's far less active. If you want olive oil's protective compounds available when the brain's cleaning system activates, they must already be circulating before sleep begins. Taking olive oil in the morning simply does not provide the same neurological effect. Timing is not a minor detail here. It's the entire mechanism. After age 65, glymphatic efficiency declines by nearly 40% compared to younger adulthood. After 75, the reduction may exceed 50%. This decline is one major reason Alzheimer's disease and other dementias become more common with age, not because the brain is defective, but because its cleaning system becomes less efficient over time. Extra virgin olive oil may be one of the simplest tools available to support this process. For maximum brain support, take 1 tablespoon of ultra-high quality extra virgin olive oil containing at least 300 milligrams of polyphenols per kilogram, usually listed on premium labels, about 30 to 45 minutes before bed. Sleep on your side rather than flat on your back, since research from Stony Brook University found that glymphatic function operates up to 25% more efficiently in the side sleeping position. Pair the olive oil with a handful of blueberries or a teaspoon of turmeric mixed into warm almond milk. Blueberries contain anthocyanins known to cross the blood-brain barrier and reduce neuroinflammation, while curcumin and turmeric may further reduce amyloid buildup. Together, olive oil, blueberries, and turmeric create what I believe is one of the most evidence-supported nighttime brain protection routines available today without requiring a single prescription. I want to end with one final patient story because this is the reason I created this video. I'll call her Eleanor, a 78-year-old woman from Charleston, South Carolina. Eleanor came to me deeply frightened. Her mother had suffered from Alzheimer's disease, and her older sister had been diagnosed 4 years earlier. She sat across from me and said, "Doctor, I feel like I'm simply waiting for it to happen to me too." We spent a long time discussing the research on healthy brain aging, sleep quality, exercise, social engagement, and nutrition. As part of the changes she made, Eleanor began taking 1 tablespoon of high polyphenol extra virgin olive oil every evening before bed alongside a small bowl of blueberries. 2 years later, she returned for follow-up and told me that for the first time in years, she no longer felt powerless in her own health journey. Her memory remained sharp. Her sleep had improved tremendously. But most importantly, she said she was no longer afraid. I feel like I'm finally fighting back, she told me. That means everything. That's why this matters. Before we finish, here's what I need you to understand. You are not too old. You are not beyond hope. The research we discussed today, better sleep, heart support, joint restoration, gut healing, muscle preservation, blood sugar control, and the incredible brain-clearing potential of extra virgin olive oil, none of it comes with an expiration date. The glymphatic system can still respond to proper support even at age 80. Muscles can still be rebuilt at 75 with the right nutritional signals. Arteries can still recover meaningful function after decades of inflammation when the right compounds are introduced consistently and at the right time. 1 tablespoon every night before bed. That's the entire protocol. Less than $1 a day. No prescription. No equipment. No expensive memberships. Just a spoonful of liquid gold used intentionally and backed by science. Your independence is worth protecting. The ability to carry groceries, remember birthdays, wake without constant pain, and sleep peacefully through the night. That quality of life isn't reserved only for people with perfect genetics. It's something you can actively support, strengthen, and restore at any stage of life with the right knowledge and tools. I've spent 30 years watching people transform their health in their 60s, 70s, and even 80s. I've seen it happen repeatedly, and every transformation begins with one decision. The decision to stop viewing decline as unavoidable and start acting on what the science actually shows us. If this video gave you something useful today, whether a new perspective, a practical routine, or simply the reassurance that it's not too late, please subscribe right now so you never miss a future video. We release new content every week designed specifically for adults who want to age with strength, clarity, and dignity. And before you leave, tell me in the comments, will you try the nighttime olive oil routine? And what health goal matters most to you right now? I truly read every comment. Your story matters, and it helps me continue sharing research that mainstream conversations too often ignore. I'll see you in the next video. Take good care of yourself tonight. You deserve it.